What's up, Planeswalkers? It's your boy K-Dog. Another fun video for you guys. This one we're back in Historic. Another best of one list. It's a Mardu list that's built around the card Fraying Omnipotence. Fraying Omnipotence is a 5-mana sorcery, 3 black. Each player loses half their life, then discards half the cards in their hand, then sacrifices half the creatures they control, round up each time. So this is one of those like really powerful cards that's very challenging to build around. So I did want to end this standard season with something very interesting. And Fraying Omnipotence is one of those really fun cards because it's just sort of a challenge to brew around. I got a couple ideas with this. This first one here, it's a kind of an Afterlife build. So we're running lots of the Afterlife cards and basically things that die and leave behind tokens. And then of course we have Teysa Karlov here that gives us additional triggers when those creatures die, and that those Afterlife Spirit tokens now have Vigilance and Lifelink. So that's pretty sweet. So running 3 Teysas, 3 Fraying Omnipotence. We also have a couple copies Seraph of the Scales, just a nice 4-powered flyer. It can be kind of a win condition in and of itself. And then of course Afterlife 2. And then be able to pay to give it Vigilance or Death Touch, depending on your board state. It's pretty sweet. Having Elspeth as a Planeswalker to give your tokens an additional power boost, +2/+1 for 2 of your creatures. Or you can -2 to make up of 1/1 human soldiers. And then of course she has Escape. So all those cards that you've discarded, all the creatures that have died and sacrificed, filled up your graveyard, you can use those to fuel up Escape. Of course we also have Kroxa here as well. It's another way for kind of force some discards in the early game as well. And another way to really take advantage of those discards, of those creatures that we've sacrificed. Or any removal from our opponent's side that has helped us fill up our graveyard. Of course, Kroxa is just a super powerful card in the late game as a 6/6 that will force your opponent to discard and take damage. So she's a great finisher for us, especially once we've obviously lessened our opponent's life total with the Fraying Omnipotence. And also for some spice, got a couple copies of Judith. She's just a beautiful Diva here, 2/2 for 3. All of our creatures get +1/+0, so it doesn't care. She doesn't care if they're tokens or whatever. Just other creatures besides her get an additional power boost. And since we're playing all these, small-powered creatures, Judith is a nice anthem effect. And then, of course, when the non-token creatures dies, not only do we get the Afterlife effect, but we also get to ping 1 damage to any target. So if multiple creatures die from, say, Fraying Omnipotence, we get to ping perhaps the creature they don't sacrifice, or just ping their face for additional damage as they're losing half their life total. So Judith is just a really powerful card. She is legendary. So just the 2 of here at 3 mana. And then we also got 3 copies of Ministrant of Obligation. It's a 2/1 for 3, so not really great. However, it's the Afterlife 2 that we're looking at here, so just fantastic value for sacrifice fodder. And of course, Orzhov Enforcer, the Death Touch, is going to slow our opponent down a little bit. We kind of want to go wide and get set up and get to our 5th land, and then we can kind of drop the Fraying Omnipotence on our opponent, and they're going, what the heck just happened? Because literally nobody plays with this card, but it's super fun to play with. You just have to set it up right. We also got the Tithe Taker. It's 2/1 for 2, so pretty decent. And then of course the Afterlife of 1 is what we're looking at. And then has the nice little ability where spells on our opponent's turn, or on our turn, cost 1 more for our opponent to cast. Sorry. And then we also have Footlight Fiend as it's a 1/1 for 1, but it's got the nice hybrid black or red mana. Since we're in a 3-color deck, this is very, very flexible for us. Nice to get down. Another way to kind of slow your opponent down in the early game. You know, even if they have a 2 toughness creature, they're not just going to want to attack into it because we're going to block it. It's going to take 1 damage from the Footlight Fiend. Then we can send that additional damage when it dies to finish it off. So it's going to give them something to think about, not wanting to attack in. Then, of course, 3 Hunted Witness. It's a 1/1, and when it dies, we get a 1/1 soldier with lifelink. And obviously, we're losing life to Fraying Omnipotence, so anything we can do to kind of gain life is fantastic. And, of course, we just have the Teysa as well that gives our creature tokens Vigilance and lifelink. We also have Vona's Hunger. It's another really sweet card that doesn't really see much play, never really has. It's a 3-mana instant from the Ixalan block. It has Ascend, so normally, this is each opponent sacrifices a creature. However, if you have the City's Blessing, your opponent now sacrifices half the creatures they control rounded up. So this goes really fantastic with Fraying Omnipotence and can really get your opponent off guard. So it's basically 3 mana as kind of a pseudo one-sided board wipe. It's a pretty sweet deal. You know, we have all these cheap creatures, Afterlife and everything like that, so getting the City's Blessing was not going to be a problem for us. And we'll still have some additional removal here in 2 copies of Banishing Light for any kind of non-creature interaction, and then 2 copies of Cast Down if we just need some hard removal on creatures. Of course, it does have the downside on the legendaries, but you know, we do have the Vona's Hunger and Fraying Omnipotence kind of help out with that. And of course, Judith can kind of ping stuff down, things like that. So yeah, just wanted some cheap, efficient removal. Cast Down seems like it's the best overall choice. Since we're all pretty all in the strategy, it's kind of hard to make it into a best of 3 list. And it's pretty casual. Obviously, Fraying Omnipotence is really hard to make work. But yeah, so we're just going to bring it into some best of 1 play. Let's go for the mana base real quick. Plains, 2 Swamp, 3 Godless Shrine, 4 Isolated Chapel, 3 Blood Crypt, 4 Dragonskull Summit, 4 Clifftop Retreat, and 3 Sacred Foundries. So nothing too crazy with the mana base, just trying to keep it real simple for our 3-color deck so we can cast things consistently. Don't need any of those you know, colorless lands, Field of Ruin or Arch of Rask, anything like that. You could try to sneak one in there. Obviously, Castle Lockthwain sounds tempting, but if we're already losing life to Fraying Omnipotence, we don't want to lose additional life off the Castle Lockthwain, though it could be a nice way to kind of rebuild. I also looked at cards like Argwell's Bloodfast, but again, you don't really want to be losing life when you're already losing half your life out of nowhere. And we have some life gain, but not a lot, so it's not something we only want to really bank on getting some value off of. Alright, we are missing red mana, but you know, we got the Tithe Taker, Enforcer, and the Vona's Hunger. You know, Kroxa is just kind of additional beef, so it's not something we have to cast on turn 2 anyway, so I think this is a fine keep. And red is just kind of our splash color with Kroxa and Judith, so yeah, we'll just lead with the Godless Shrine, of course, and we'll see what our opponent's up to. If they show any sort of aggression, we'll just drop the Enforcer. Otherwise, maybe just go with the Tithe Taker, just to get the 2 power on board first. So if our opponent somehow doesn't drop a creature here, we can attack in for 2. And then next turn, we'll see what they have. So we're still missing our red mana. And we can only do 1 of the Enforcer or the Tithe Taker. Okay, there's a Summit. Alright, let's go ahead and crash in for 2. Still not doing anything. Rupture Spires, so some budget mana base fixing here. Yeah, I think we'll just keep adding more power to the board with the Tithe Taker. And next turn we can Kroxa plus Orzhov Enforcer. Oh, still nothing blue though. It's never a good sign. So we'll keep with the Dragonskull Summit. Attack for 4 first. Go ahead and drop the Enforcer. The nice thing about all these Afterlife creatures is, you know, even if your opponent has a board wipe, you're still getting value, so you actually just run them out there anyway. And let's see if we can make them discard. Galta. Okay, so they're got some interesting stuff going on, trying to make Galta work in the deck. Well, go ahead and get the Footlight Fiend there, and let's get rid of the Shalleye. Worst case scenario is Vona's Hunger at least gets rid of 1 creature. And of course, if your opponent's off to a slow start like this, then it's pretty fantastic. Comes de novo, sure. Get the board wipe. Get all those creatures in our graveyard, fuel for Kroxa, and we still get a bunch of tokens on board, so it's not terrible. So yeah, crash in for 3. One's already down to 5, and we already have escape. Sweet. Ministrant could have been better there, so if they have additional board wipe, we still have the Afterlife to follow up with. Okay, Kamal's Druidic Vow. Opponent has no answer. Yes, early aggression, and your opponent got off to a slow start. And if they had, you know, something there, we still have Kroxa to really force the issue, discard and damage, and eventually be able to just escape her again. So. Alright, let's jump into one more. Alright, against Pinnacle in Sync. Okay, a little bit of a slower hand, but we do have a 1-drop into 3-drop into Seraph, so it's not terrible. We'll give it a try, and then Elspeth can kind of help us catch up depending on what's going on. Either get us some life gain, add some more board presence with the 1/1s. And we are in the draw as well, so we could obviously find a 2-drop here in the next couple draws, so yeah. Hand seems pretty solid on all 3 of our colors. I'm not going to complain about that. Just nice getting the extra value off of, you know, your opponent board wipes you, and you still get to ping them with the Footlight Fiends, and then you still have a bunch of creatures left on board. Okay, on the Healer's Hawk plan. Shock in 2, get our Footlight Fiend down. And get the Healer's Hawk in for sure. It's just a Selesnya life game list. No, Healer's Hawk into Paradise of Judith. So there's some kind of Selesnya, like a Trostani list or something. They don't have a turn 2 play. Just attack. I doubt they're doing anything for Paradise Judith. Okay, we have Judith next turn. And Seraph on turn 4, so it's okay. See how aggressive they can get here. Evolving Wilds. Okay, still on Selesnya. See if they attack with the Druid or if they want to have a 3-drop here. Dawn of Hope. Yeah, they don't have mana to draw, so that's good for us. Alright, go ahead and drop our Judith down. Pressure the life total as much as we can with this Healer's Hawk out. And the Seraph of the Scales can hopefully shut that down, unless of course they have a Banishing Light, which is perfectly reasonable. Although we're hoping, if anything, maybe they use it on Judith. Okay, so they're going to draw a card here. Maybe they looks like they found something. They're eyeing both of our creatures. And they do have the Paradise Druid, gives them the Banishing Light, or it could just be like a pacifism or something. Of course, Historic could be like a Baffling End or something like that as well. Maybe they're just old school with Prison Realms. Ooh, Teysa, that's a nice draw. Alright, definitely don't want to lose our Judith, but we'll keep pressuring him with the Footlight Fiend while we can. So this early Healer's Hawk and Dawn of Hope might just get us though. It's a lot of value. Especially since we had the 1-drop into 3-drop. That was a little bit of a slow start from us. Just want to get the Seraph down to hopefully block the Healer's Hawk. And then we'll follow it up with Teysa to try to get some Afterlife value if we can. It doesn't really do too much if all the removal is enchantment based. Okay, our opponent's thinking about Seraph of the Scales. They felt the need to do that in response. Okay. I think it's funny when people hold priority there when you're not in blue. It's like, you don't have a counterspell for my creature, and there's not really any effects on the battlefield that really are affected by anything you could do, so just let it resolve, and then you can figure out what you want to do. They probably have another combat trick, that's fine. Just want to get this Healer's Hawk off the board. And we'll still get value off of the Seraph. Unless they have a way to increase the toughness. 4 damage. Okay, so they just kill it. Unfortunately, we just do the 1 damage. And the Healer's Hawk did get the token, so that's pretty good for them. But now we still have a couple 2-powered flyers on board. If we can kind of get a little bit of traction going, Elspeth can help us push through a bunch of damage. We'd like to get rid of this Healer's Hawk so we can make this Fraying Omnipotence more effective. And they do have 4 mana open for Dawn of Hope tokens now. Oh, that's a pretty sweet draw. It's Teysa. And we'll attack with the... Definitely attack with the Footlight Fiend. Maybe we'll leave the flyers back just to stop this Healer's Hawk. And next turn we can Vona's Hunger. Actually, that was a mistake. The Teysa gives them Vigilance and Lifelink, so no reason not to attack with there. Make sure we get that right next time. Yep. Please block with it. Oh, okay. So now they don't have good attacks, and we got the Vona's Hunger. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and we have the City's Blessing as it currently stands, but we'll see if they have any interaction here. Another Healer's Hawk, still 2 cards in hand. So with 4 creatures, they'd have to sacrifice 2 of them, and of course they can make another token, but then that would just mean they have 5 creatures, and they have to sacrifice 3 of them. I'll double block in case they have some kind of a trick. Giant Growth. Okay. Still get the lifelink. Unfortunately, we are off of the City's Blessing. Another Judith. Let's go ahead and Elspeth. Make a couple 1/1s.
Courage will bloom in all who seek justice.
Keep attacking with our Footlight Fiend. So now, even if Elspeth dies, we do have the Vona's Hunger. So our opponent's got some tricks up their sleeve, but hopefully we can use this Vona's Hunger to our advantage. Obviously, the more creatures they make, the more creatures they'll have to sacrifice. Because it is rounded up, so if they have an odd number of creatures, then it'll be... if they go up to 5 creatures, then they'll have to sacrifice 3 of them. We don't have any way to block, so if they want to take out Elspeth, that's fine. At least got our got back to the City's Blessing. We have the option to escape her a little bit later on. But yeah, this Healer's Hawk and the Dawn of Hope is pretty brutal. Opponent's drawing 1,000,000 cards. Fraying Omnipotence would be pretty sweet as well. Of course, with 1 Judith out, this other Judith is kind of a dead draw as well. Footlight Fiend. Do we want to attack all here? It's tempting. Let's do it and see what they do. Don't have a ton of views for this Paradise Druid anymore, so they could easily be looking at Judith here. But after they block, we'll kind of see about this Vona's Hunger. Just going to chump the Teysa. That's it. Let's make you sacrifice 2 creatures. I've got another Giant Growth in hand. Growth doesn't kill Teysa. Oh wait, actually 3, yeah, 3 plus 3, yeah, so it would. Alright. Let's get to kill their token. And clear their board except for the druid. And we do fuel escape a little bit for Elspeth. We're just 1 card away. But this Dawn of Hope is giving him a ton of card advantage, so it might just be a little bit too much for us. Enclave on Judith. Perfect. We got another one. Now we have a reason to play it. We attack for 3. See if they have a land to make a 1/1. Nope. Get Judith down. Attack with the it's a tackle. More likely to block here. Ministrant of Obligation, here you go. So we're not in a great spot still. No, it's a ton of card advantage on their side. It's a cheeky little card, Inspiring Commander. 6 mana though, it's pretty expensive. Unfortunately, we don't have great attacks now with that 4 toughness. And they're going to be gaining a bunch of life. So I think we're not looking too good here. Fraying Omnipotence will be our best draw. Another Pride Mate. Draw both of them. They don't have good attacks yet, but just a matter of time before they get some advantage and grow them big enough that they'll be able to start leveraging them. And the Dawn of Hope now, Inspiring Commander, giving them all the card advantage they need. Fraying Omnipotence is the only thing that can save us here. I do have mana open to make a token, plus 3 cards in hand. I'm not able to attack yet with this board, and more lands. That's not what we need here. Fraying Omnipotence is one of those sweet ways to deal with these board stall situations. Our opponent is eyeing every single creature, thinking about every single possibility. Just getting all the card advantage in the world. We could maybe have 1 more turn to turn this around. Even though that's probably too late, but we'll see. Like a Pledge of Unity would be pretty devastating, just making all the creatures huge. Now we don't have good blocks anymore. Even now, if they just drop a creature and then they grow these primates to 5/5s, that's gonna be pretty tough to handle. So double block them, but we don't have a way to deal with this Inspiring Commander. And that's game. Our opponent's got the cheeky little win condition here. Yeah, it's a nice, cute little casual deck. And raise Forerunners for the finale, just as a 1-of. Using Dawn of Hope to kind of draw into it. And Inspiring Commander, as long as your opponent doesn't kill you too early, then just get that down and just get a ton of value off of it. But obviously at 6 mana, it's pretty ridiculous. But yeah, if you can make it work in casual queue, it's pretty sweet value. Alright, so get the turn 1 Witness. No turn 2 play, but it's alright. We do have our Fraying Omnipotence, which would have helped us that last game, but nowhere to be found. So So Hunted Witness into Isolated Chapel into Enforcer. Undoubtedly have a Merfolk or an island here to make this a 2/2. We just take it. Just try to hold off a little bit. So now we have the Enforcer to make him think twice about attacking in. But this Deeproot Leet is pretty sweet value. And there we go, stop them. Footlight Fiend is pretty medium, so is Kroxa. I think we're just Banishing Light. This is deep release, they don't get any value. And just keep their attack to a minimum. I'd rather save this for like a Kumena. Disperse. Okay. I guess that's their little bit of interaction is Disperse. It's more versatile than Unsummon. Terramander. That's not what I expect to see in a Merfolk list. Just be efficient here and drop the 3 mana Ministrant here. No way to deal with this Terramander. There we go. Now we have the Hunted Witness and Kroxa. 3 mana though. No play. It's kind of curious. Is there Merfolk, Terramander spells? Sweet. That's cute. Does that mean they have another one? It's not devastating with this board state. It's going to take them a while to build up, but it's something Merfolk can do pretty quickly though. Deeper delete trigger. I'm not sure what the Terramander is in here for. It's cute. No attacks. What? We're struggling with our land drops. We don't have good attacks, but as long as we can kind of keep them at bay a little bit, we're going to get more value off this Fraying Omnipotence than they are. And of course, Terramander, though, implies that they have counter magic. And now they're going to start making their Merfolk unblockable. So definitely need to find something here. There's a land. Coming in tap, though. Are we just dead here? We're looking for another blue source, maybe? Even if we frame up Omnipotence, we're just going to lose a ton of life, and then they just keep any creature that has lifelink. So yeah, pretty awkward start from us. Just not able to get there against the Merfolken. That's one of the downsides, is the unblockable and things like that. Trample and unblockable, those are definitely our biggest weaknesses, but not something you see a whole lot of. And the problem with best of one is you just kind of have to roll with the punches. Sometimes your deck lines up well, and sometimes it's a disaster. Alright, just one more. Gotta get this Fraying Omnipotence off. Awkward not having white mana, but we'll try it. We are on the draw. Okay. Just lead with Footlight Fiend, I think. We should have a Sacred Foundry there. Those kind of decks. We do not have our removal in hand. Just play a bunch of small creatures and give them enchantments to make them really big. There's growth. Okay, just keep blocking all day until we find our removal. Misplaying left and right. Just in a hurry to get this Enforcer down. As long as I don't have Rabid Bite, then we should be okay. That's pretty cute. Alright. Let's go ahead and get our Ministrant down. Obviously, Trample Rexus. Another awkward start here. Go Teysa, so once these creatures have to trade off, we can just get some value. But they're just going to make their creatures really, really big. Okay, spending the mana making more oozing, just going super wide. Alright, I think we'll be efficient here and go 4-drop into 1-drop. Need a Vona's Hunger or Fraying Omnipotence here. Fire it off. Okay, 1, 2, 3. And Teysa will trigger twice. We keep our Orzhov Enforcer around for Death Touch. Bonus sacrifice 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 3 as well. Now we're going to get a bunch of tokens behind that all have Vigilance and Lifelink. Again, as long as I don't have Trample, we just might pull this off. Bunch of tokens. Okay, so we keep their enchanted dudes and their Giganosaurus. Makes sense. We got 1,000,000 tokens now. We're just dead to trample. We are dead to trample, but then they have the Grazer with the reach, so no good attacks there, but we can attack with these 1/1s. Okay, we do need to speed up the clock here a little bit. Song of Frayleys goes off on chapter 3. It's going to be pretty brutal. Is that going to win the game for us? I think it might. There's the reach. Alright. That was pretty close. Mono green Stompy with the cute enchantments on the Llanowar Elves and all that. Giganosaurus. And that was pretty close. Fraying Omnipotence, obviously. Putting in a ton of work. Afterlife, ton of synergy. Love it. Definitely a fun, casual deck. Yeah, and if you know about Fraying Omnipotence, now you know. Thanks for watching, guys. See you in the next one.